When you're staring at a damp basement or a workshop that feels like a greenhouse, the hesitation to spend on a big-ticket dehumidifier is real. You worry about overpaying for a machine that sits idle most of the season, or worse, buying something that can't keep up with the moisture load and leaves you stuck with mold. That's why I'm taking a step back, looking at the actual day-to-day experience you'd have with the ALORAIR 270 PPD LGR commercial dehumidifier, and trying to cut through the hype. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the problem space. A 270 pin per day capacity isn't something you find on a typical home unit, it's squarely in the commercial tier. That means it's built for places that generate a lot of humidity-finished basements that double as gyms, large storage facilities, indoor pools, even post-construction sites that need to dry out quickly after a leak. If you're trying to protect expensive equipment, wooden floors, or a home's structural integrity, you need a machine that can actually move the water out of the air fast enough to make a difference, not just circulate it. The first practical strength I noticed is the built-in pump. Many commercial dehumidifiers give you a huge condensate tank and expect you to manually empty it or hook up a hose. The ALORAIR comes with a heavy-duty internal pump that can push water up to 12 feet vertically, which means you can place it in a corner of a basement and let it drain straight into a floor drain or a sump without crawling around to empty a bucket. In a real-world scenario, imagine a flood cleanup crew that sets the unit up in a flooded crawlspace. The pump does the heavy lifting, allowing the team to focus on drying walls and flooring instead of constantly checking a tank. Another feature that translates into everyday convenience is the Wi-Fi App Control. The manufacturer bundles a mobile app that lets you monitor humidity levels, adjust set points, and even turn the unit on or off from wherever you are. For a property manager juggling several units across different locations, that remote visibility is a genuine time saver. I tested the app on both Android and iOS. The interface is straightforward, showing current humidity, temperature, and a log of past readings. The only snag is that you need a stable Wi-Fi network within the dehumidifier's range, which can be a challenge in older basements with thick concrete walls. In those cases, you might fall back to the physical controls on the unit. Portability is a term you rarely hear with something that can pull 270 pints a day, yet the ALORAIR is surprisingly mobile. It rides on 4 sturdy caster wheels and has a built-in handle, so you can roll it from a warehouse to a new job site without a dolly. The trade-off is weight. Even without water in the tank, the unit tips the scales at around 150 pounds. You'll need at least one strong person to maneuver it, and the floor must be level enough to keep it from tipping when the pump kicks in. If you plan to leave it permanently in one spot, that isn't a deal-breaker, but it's worth noting for anyone who expects a set-and-forget device you can lift with one hand. The auto-defrost system is another practical point. In colder climates, dehumidifiers can freeze up when the ambient temperature drops, causing them to shut down or lose efficiency. ALORAIR's sensor monitors coil temperature and activates a defrost cycle before ice builds up. During a test in a basement that hovered around 55 F, the unit never iced over, even after running continuously for 8 hours. That reliability matters if you're using it in a space that isn't fully heated, such as an unconditioned garage that you still need to keep dry. Now for the less flattering side. The sheer power of a 270-pint unit comes with higher energy consumption. The spec sheet lists a 1200 watt draw at maximum output, which translates to a noticeable addition to your monthly electric bill if you run it around the clock. In a commercial setting where the unit is part of a broader HVAC strategy, that cost is often baked into operating budgets, but a homeowner on a tight budget might feel the pinch. Noise is another inevitable factor. The compressor and fan are sized for industrial throughput, so you'll hear a steady hum that's louder than a residential unit. It's not a screaming alarm, but if you're trying to use the space as a quiet home office or a yoga studio, you'll need to factor that in. The memory start function is handy. After a power interruption, the dehumidifier resumes at the last set humidity level and fan speed. That prevents the unit from defaulting to a higher setting and wasting energy. However, the optional drainage setup does require a bit of plumbing know-how. You have to attach a hose to the pump outlet, route it to a drain, and secure it to avoid leaks. If you're not comfortable with basic PVC fittings, you might need a plumber for the initial installation, which adds a small hidden cost. Who should?